Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back again after that brief little intermission. So we do, in fact, have Chaos versus Instinct about ready to start here for our final match of the night. Appreciate everyone for tuning in, for joining us, and for being very interactive and reactive in the chat all night long and all week long. It's been a pleasure to see. So with me again is SirDimwi on the casting chairs, booths, whatever it is. I mean, it's all fictional anyways, because you know. But it's for the illusion of the audience, and now that illusion is broken. Now we will have the match starting off here. So Chaos and Instinct, two teams returning from the preseason. Bit different rosters for some of them, and we do know just as well for Chaos. I mean, they're a team true to their name. They had a very chaotic roster situation for a lot of it, as that chaotic shot. Zeus! I'm not Zeus. Yes, you are, because that was lightning on that strike.
Yeah, what a shot there by Zeus right off the joust there to take his team up 3-0. Instinct now in the lead, and that's Instinct is that team of Connemara Chaos. I'm not Zeus, Dollar Ranger, and Convici returning from last season as a full unit, I believe. And yeah, what a great way to start this first game of the season.
Yeah, the thing, like I was, as Instinct gets started off here, but like hold on. For Chaos, I was always impressed with them when they did kind of have a stability, but it was just so seldom that they did, roster-wise, that they just couldn't really get a lot of traction. But I think as a team, if they can stick to this cohesive roster and not change it a bunch, they're going to be looking good. I mean, right there from Farafo, looking good.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. They were a team. Chaos was a team I've been watching all throughout the preseason, and it was really sad to see because it was Dano and Cakester were the two members that were consistent throughout all of preseason, but they were finally able. I believe I talked to Dano and asked him about it. Curry in a Hurry and Farafo are their forever teammates as of the off season. So really excited to see what they can do in season one with a consistent roster here.
That's really great news for them, honestly. So, look forward to seeing what they do. But here also, Instinct. I mean, this was a team that had some great looking games throughout the season. Just great teamwork, great offense. There's some more from Duller. This time Zeus assisting on that one instead of scoring and looking nice in the process.
And that was a beautiful pass sequence there by Instinct. A lot of back and forth. Taking the time to approach that bubble, and once they approached it, they went in for the attack and went very, very well there. Good goal there for Instinct.
Absolutely, and quick look at the chat there saying Ham Jam saw his clip in the pregame. Yeah, I took some of most of the popular clips, the top, I don't know, 50 or so, out of the preseason Twitch clip page, and just kind of stuffed them into a folder, Good stuff. I can see there as well, Bars shouting out Farafo over there on Chaos. Farafo fan. Farafo, one of those longtime players as well. Good to see him getting on this team and finding some stability. I know Farafo joined them, Chaos, that is, partway through preseason, I do believe, so it wasn't like a brand new thing after it ended. Oh, what a save there, though. I think that was Farafo speaking of the man. But here it goes. Dollar Ranger going to swing it and find it on the second go.
Ooh, what a fortunate bounce for Dollar as he seems to have lost his hand a little bit on that first shot attempt, but it goes right above the goal, hits the flat side of the flat portion of that backboard, comes right back to him. That bounce back, that kind of self pass probably threw the goalie off just enough for Dollar to make space for himself to put that one in for that too.
Now Chaos, a little bit too much chaos on that rollout. Gets loose into the hands of Instinct. They can't make it. Oh, no, a self-goal for Raffo. Unfortunately, he tried doing a soft tap, but just beneath the feet.
Yeah, he was looking to send it back to his goalie real quick there. Goalie just not in position, not ready to accept that pass, and unfortunately goes in to put Instinct up now by 7.
Definitely a tough go of things there. Not the first time we've seen a self-goal tonight either, though. We saw one about 15 minutes ago. But, yeah, it'll happen from time to time. Very unfortunate when it does, and that's kind of the risk you take when you go for those back passes in your own range. And, wow, the defensive range on those arms from Kanemaru manages to clear it.
Yeah, what a save there by Connemara. That was a shot off of that cone, and those shots off the cone can be some of the hardest ones to save. As now Kavici coming back and put that one in for that too. Wow, what a quick turnaround on that.
First off the cone, and then Kavici off the dome gets the goal, 11-2, finding themselves in very nice position as we end this first half of round 1. 5 minutes in.
Yeah, this is a very comfortable lead here for Instinct, being up by 9, and it goes right in the hands of Connemara, who almost sends that one in for a deep 3 there to go up by another 3, which would have been 12. But yeah, now Dano with the disc and Chaos back in control.
Trying to find that control. Yeah, you can see, I mean, these passes are soft enough, so even if they don't have the best angles, they're throwing them with enough touch to eventually get to their players, their teammates. And that one's going to be a too high shot attempt. Looks like Farafo there trying to contest it on the wall as well as Dano McFabulous. Maybe one pass actually going backwards instead. And now to the barrier. So Chaos trying to show some organization contrary to their name on this approach on offense. Here goes a nice pass to Dano. And oh, another one maybe too much, but still gets it back and finds Cakester. So yet another pass, and you can see the right idea is there. It's just the execution slightly off at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, they're set up around the bubble just as they should be, just not quite connecting on the passes. There was that good shot opportunity, but it looked like it might have left the hands of the player, and then an overshoot on that disc there by Instinct.
See,
confusing my teams now.
We're also confused trying to remember to say Infinite. We're applying it to other teams now. But here it goes to Kavici, Zeus, and that will be absolute. That was a nice angle too, a tough one, but he made it.
What a nice little play there, Kavici, with that slick pass down to I'm Not Zeus underneath the goal there. And yeah, it was well executed. I'm Not Zeus with a really steep angle on that shot, but still able to put it in for that 2 to go up by another 2, now up by 11.
And the rollout, not quite as smooth as they wanted, but they'll still retain possession. The punch happening here. Dano gets stuffed, but Curry still gets it back there in the back line. So they're retaining, but just barely. It seems like, again, the ideas are there on the passes, but the execution on the passes right now, or at least the positioning, not quite what they want. But it's definitely something fixable even between rounds. So I think they just got to keep sticking to those mechanics as the rebounded bounce goes for Duller.
That's a hard one to stop there as a goalie. He got to goal in time, turns around just in time, but has very little time after that to read the shot as it comes in off of a very wide arcing hook from Duller there.
And now, oh, that is again just not able to collect the disc on that one, and it's starting to result on a pileup of scores against Chaos.
You know, you see that every single one of us has done that at one time or another. I know I did it the other night against Ignite, as it looks like Instinct has just dropped the player. But yeah, it always sucks when it's always terrible when it happens, and you don't love seeing it. And unfortunately, it happened there, and it resulted for another 3 here for Instinct as we're down a player.
Yep, definitely has happened to all of us more times than I care to admit. Things happen. And it's not even one of those things that's like a result. Oh, Dano going there for the goal, so they do get on the board. Assisted by Curry in a hurry as Duller does rejoin here after the drop. So it looks like he'll get back in time for the play. But I was saying those times where the disc sometimes flies out or you lose it, or even the self goals, those things aren't even actually results of say, like amateur play or something. Or you can look at those plays and be like, oh wow, that shouldn't happen to a pro team. But no, the reality is when you're playing at these high levels, you're pushing the pace so much, the timing is so tight that little mistakes like that are inevitable because there really aren't big margins for error at all at these levels. But Zeus looking to level him with a shot. Now that one is going to ding off the bottom and takes it back. Actually, Curry in a hurry, clears it in a hurry, back to the other side. Less than a minute left. 18-4. Instinct in control.
Now, given the point differential, I don't think they're too worried about it. But missed shots like that are so hard to take when they ding off the inside of the post like that. You know, a half-inch in, half-inch difference would have made, you know, for a goal. But another sneaky one there by Dano. He likes those going down low and hooking it up from underneath himself there like a granny shot, underhand.
So back-to-back for Dano, getting some goals for Chaos here late in the game. First round out of hand, but certainly not this series as long as they play their cards right here and just reorganize between rounds. But any score they can get, any defensive plays they can make here late in the game, it all translates to just better mentalities and better habits, you know, going into the next.
Yeah, Connemara just going to run that clock all the way down. Not even going to give them an opportunity to take it back from them. And, yeah, go into this the end of round the end of round 1, going to Instinct 18-6. Fairly decisive victory in this round 1.
Yeah, just what more can you say? Dominance from them right now. Instinct, one of the stronger teams in the league for the preseason. And, again, new player there in Duller coming in. And glad to see him on a team. But, yeah, just starting off the season with their debut and right where they left off, essentially, with some strength.
You know, I still remember Dollar as a Divine Dinger because he changed his name to that as a joke at one point, but I knew him as Divine Dinger for longer than I knew him as Dollar, so it took me a while to drop the name, to stop calling him that. And he didn't, after he dropped the name, he didn't want to be called Divine Dinger anymore because it was kind of a throwing shade at himself, and then didn't want it to continue. So yeah, but it's good seeing him on a team. He's been a great player for a while now, and on a team with some other great players. Connemara Chaos, really good in his own right. I'm Not Zeus, very good. Kavici, early on, one of the better goalies I personally took notice of, very early on, long before I even got into comp myself.
Yeah, definitely. And as far as great goalies go, I say this a lot, but just can't help but be impressed with how good that defenders have gotten in goal. And goes without saying, too, obviously, you had an epic save in your game versus Spaghetti yesterday that I just want to point out towards the end to save the game. And there were a lot of, not just you, too, I think even in some of the earlier ones, Zesper had it, and we're seeing Kavici. He's one of the renowned goalkeepers who had some just incredible saves in the preseason. That's kind of the only surprising thing about Instinct in the first round is the fact that Kavici didn't have any saves.
Yeah, a little out of character, but maybe some new character from Instinct as they get familiar with each other.
Ooh, look at that familiarity with a diss though for Ruffo. Finds it, denies the otherwise easy angle on the goal, and that was good look for Chaos.
Yeah, what a steal there by for Rafa to stop that shot opportunity for Instinct there to keep this game tied at 0 now, a minute in.
Getting a soft boost is Zeus trying to pressure Cakester, so Cakester going up high, but again, more great pressure this time from Connemara. He knew the pass was likely to go up top there, so he was cutting it off very well. And now look at this coordination as Instinct rolls in for a 3.
No hesitation there from Instinct. Dollar right up to Kavici. Kavici just turns around, pops that one in for that 3, makes it look easy. And maybe not the most difficult shot from where he was, but still making it look like it was nothing at all. And great play there by Instinct to go up, draw first blood in this round 2 to go up 3-0.
But even then, just regardless of the shot, the perfect positioning, the placement there, you saw this stack chasing the disc, but you had one who was already ready to go for the disc. The other person in the stack went right for the perfect anchored spot. I mean, you just... the teamwork required to do some of those things.
Absolutely.
You got to appreciate it because it's easy for teammates to just cluster up and dive on the disc at the same time and not know where to go, but they both knew where they were going the whole time.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the harder skills when you first get into comp is learning to not just trust your teammates, but to coordinate with them on the fly.
Oh, just near miss for Cakester. Still might have himself an open goal, and indeed, so couldn't get the 3-pointer to tie it, but at least drop the 2 to get themselves on the score sheet.
Yeah, solid follow-up by Cakester there. I mean, points are points, and they are still down by 1. but they're down by less than a goal. So any other goal by Chaos before Instinct scores again will put them in the lead. So great goal there by Cakester.
Maybe finding themselves a little bit of a momentum, a little collection after that round break for Chaos. See if they can force anything here on the defensive side, though, as Kanemaru approaches, looks forward, and Cakester, so there again, some good contesting inside and outside the 2-point area. Farafo gets there first with the tap out. Della Ranger getting the tap off for the boost. Trying to find the disc, but there first actually is Duller indeed. So good grab, but still Cakester taking it, losing it to Zeus. Zeus lining up maybe a bounce shot. He inverted himself first to find the conversion maybe on a pass, and Duller at last 5-2. What a great play from Instinct.
Yeah, that's one of those dump shots. You know, you're in a position where you want to dump it, but you have that lane towards the goal that you know there's a chance it's going to go in if you send it in that area, and so that's what he does. Doesn't quite connect, but Duller knows exactly where it's going to end up. He's ready for it, grabs it, puts it in for that easy 2. Good goal there by Instinct.
That's a deadly thing, too, about 4v4 because of those extra stacks that you get as Kanemaru just misses his pass, but that extra player on each team now compared to before, it's just if you have sharpshooters on your team who can nail it from half court, the fact that you also have a backup stack coming at any given time, it's really powerful. So Kanemaru here going for maybe a finesse move, but gets stunned instead with that punch from, not sure who it was, but it was a good one. And Kavichi playing the back line here, approached by the stack, and ejects it over to the 2-point area where it is taken, but knocked out by Dano. Very nice play.
Yeah, off the 5-headed Dano there, quite possibly. I believe it was a headbutt, and able to now puts them back in control of the disc here. So great save and great recovery as it now flings back to the Chaos bubble. Uh-oh.
Oof. And now looking for that trouble is Kanemaru. Chaos 7-2. So building a little bit of a lead here, but still 5 minutes left. B-Love in the chat. Hello, how's it going? Says, let's go Chaos, and shouting for cake, the player or the food, because I like both. Now, they would not have liked it if that was intercepted. Almost was, but Chaos here looking to collect. Dano gets that one, but quickly needs to get rid of it. Does the Cakester. Cakester looking for a move, but bottom of the goal, dings off, trying to avoid the hands of Kavichi, and that is exactly what going against a renowned goalie like him will do to you. It'll make you shoot in the toughest of angles just to get it by sometimes.
Yeah, you know, Cakester's kicking himself on that one, whether or not it was his fault. He's you know, when you go in like that and you feel like you have that opportunity and you ding it, it wasn't even a save, you just ding it. You know, you put that all on yourself, and you know he's hurting from it.
Nice soft pass there as well, just to get it to a Duller, who finds a clear, probably a shot actually. That's I mentioned it earlier in the streams, but that's a pretty popular, or at least growing in popularity shot right here off his sidewall to the bounce shot. See that more often these days. Players just getting so creative with the ways that they score. And even the ways that they clear, for that matter. Just giving themselves great opportunities to score, even if it's only a small chance. Goes back to that phrase you like to say, expectation versus, what is it, luck versus expectation or something like that?
Intention
versus
there expectation.
Thank you.
I intended for it to go in, but I didn't expect it to go in.
On Kanemaru, he expected that one to go in, certainly. He just whirled it in off a sidewinding dunk. But yeah, nice I really like that phrase of yours, because it sums up. It's essentially the balance between luck and skill, and sometimes you do need a little bit of luck, but a lot of skill to execute some of the things that these players do.
Yeah, and I mean, you see how many people ever since Zach hit a couple of those what shots in the finals, how many other players have been making the attempts on them since then. And I don't think I've seen one in comp go in. I've seen a few in pubs go in, but no what shots from anybody but Zach so far, as I'm aware, in comp. So correct me if I'm wrong.
There was an attempt earlier. That one attempt going through from Kanemaru. And that's 11-2, so in solid position now as we wind down this second round. But yeah, to answer your question, unless I'm mistaken, I do believe there was an attempted shot earlier. what shot.
I've seen it.
But
I've
it
seen
didn't
a
go
few
through.
attempts so far.
Yeah, yeah. And I have seen it in pubs as well from other players since then. So that's kind of the blessing and the curse of being a top team and being on stream, is that, you know, once your stuff is out there, people are going to copy you if it's good. And ooh, looking good on the punch there. Kavichi diving out. Almost getting in. But right back to Chaos. But great defense from Kavichi. So now he's showing his defensive chops that he's so famous for and that I always give him credit for. And now that shot, oh, that is
What?
going right on the credits list for 3 points for Instinct Zeus.
What a shot that was from Zeus there, deep in the tunnel. Those are not the easiest shots to make. You've got to be accurate when you make that shot, and he was. And big props to him. 41 meters out. Yeah, well, I mean, just well done by Zeus there.
Straight as an arrow was that shot. It looked, from my angle, so clean from the release. And that it was. Here is going to be a takeover from Kavichi. Dumping it down to Kanemaru. Kanemaru being pressured heavily. 3 players there from Instinct all over. Or from Chaos, rather. But I'm Not Zeus coming away with it. Maybe looking for a 3 attempt. A little bit of a risk, but it pays off all right. And, you know, with a minute left, they're just looking to start piling. Maybe heading towards a Mercy if they play their cards right. But I know Chaos wants to avoid that at all costs.
Yeah, and some of that goal can be credited to Connemara Chaos way in the back there in the backfield. He was tying up the defensive chain, trying to get back to goal, which kind of allowed for that extra time to be taken to put that in for that 3 there. So props to Connemara for making that space for a shooter.
Absolutely. 36 seconds left. It's going to be a win here for Instinct in pretty decisive fashion over the 2 rounds. It's going to be slung out to Duller now. And yeah, got to be feeling happy. Duller on a new team here with Instinct and feeling good about the performance he put on tonight with his new team. And now for Chaos, again, just hopefully finding their stability here. They stick with it. Not the first match that they wanted in terms of results and things like that. But, you know, hopefully they can just work out the kinks there through some practice and come back stronger for their next match. They should still have one more coming over the next 2 days.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, it's like very excited to see Chaos able to fill out their roster, and really hoping they stick it together, because they definitely showed some really great signs of potential. The passing, they knew what they were wanting to do. Just unfortunate. A lot of times they weren't able to execute it quite well enough, and that just comes with you know, working with your team. That's one of the first things, one of the first hurdles to get over when you're first getting into comp. And every single one of those players on Chaos is a very they're all very good players, and I'm personally confident that if they stick with it, they keep practicing, they keep playing, they're going to work their way up. They're going to work their way up the rankings in by probably short order, because, like I said, they're very capable players. But yeah, this game decisively in favor of Instinct here. 17-2 in round 2, 18-6 in round 1. Very well done by Instinct here. Like you said, Dollar finally getting himself on a team, proving his mettle here. And yeah, with Kavichi, great goalie, Connemara Chaos, great midfielder, a great shooter, and very excited to see what both these teams do throughout this season 1.
I don't think tonight's performance by Chaos is indicative of what we'll see the rest of the season at all. Just based purely off of what I saw in preseason. I know these players are, you know, great players. They're long-time players, and they know what they're doing. It's just a matter of, I guess, getting the chemistry down and just coming back. And, you know, everyone has off games, plain to say. And in a season debut type situation too, there's sometimes other things on the line. You know, could be like first time on stream. I know sometimes people have nerves. I always had nerves going in, even when I was being streamed for the you know, 10th or 20th time or whatever. From VRL and things like that. Once the game usually started, I'd calm down after a minute or 2, but it's always a factor, you know, it at least for a lot of people. But
it definitely is, and I could say I was kind of fortunate to have a bit of a crash course on nerves. It was my first.
I was going to bring this up. I wanted you to tell this, yeah.
Yeah, my first game ever in ESL was streamed, it wasn't just my first stream. It was my first comp game, and it was ESL Season 2 against Eclipse. So we're talking about nerves.
Yeah.
You know, there were there were some nerves going into that game. I mean, you know, I was very familiar, very because of watching videos and stuff. I was very familiar with Lemming. I was very familiar with the reputation of Eclipse, and so going into that series, I kind of knew what was going to happen. But yeah, it being streamed, it being my first game, it being against Eclipse, kind of all coming together there. I think that's a story I'm going to be able to tell for years to come yet.
Well,
But yeah, so nerves definitely play a role.
well, and you know what though? Looking at just basically how far you've come, not to be all mushy mushy, but like seriously, to go from that's one of those stories, and it reminds me actually Strembitsky as well for Kangarillas. He won championship with Kangarillas in season 3 of ESL. Simeon on Eclipse, and he was someone that Strem looked up to and kind of strove to be after being dominated, in game and pubs by Simeon, and then a year later, Strembitsky's kind of in that place, and then like for you guys too. You told your whole story. It's like, okay, so my very first ever experience with competitive Echo, not only competitive, but it was streamed and everything. It was against the defending champions in Eclipse, and that happened. But then now looking, fast forwarding, another year or year and a half later, whatever it's been, to your team on Nova, just doing very, very well for themselves. Absolutely dominant performance yesterday and in the last half of the preseason. It's stuff like that that makes this game so cool. Seeing these players that you know for a long time kind of go from, I don't know, like student to teacher in a sense, right? It's like the torch gets passed and new players and new teams emerge, and the cycle continues as everyone continues to bring each other up to a high level of competition, with each season, just higher and higher. So it's a great aspect of this game that I love seeing.
Well, and tangentially, since it's kind of come up here, I'm gonna kind of bring it. So I gotta correct something you said yesterday during one of the casts while Nova was playing.
Uh-oh.
You gave me a lot of credit, what I feel was a lot more credit than I deserve for this the success of Nova lately. And I have to be completely honest and say that I'm probably the smallest puzzle piece in there. Venom, I cannot speak highly enough about Venom. He's kind of the guy. Generally speaking, not always, but generally, he's the one who comes in with the play ideas, and we'll kind of workshop them as a team. But even in the workshop environment, I'm one of the least. Like I'm kind of more in the position of just tell me where my pass options are,
Yeah.
and you guys kind of figure out the rest. So I just want to throw that out there, that as far as Nova, how well Nova's been doing, and I'm very, very, very proud of it. I just want to put out there that I am probably the smallest piece of that puzzle. That I would give a lot of that credit to Venom in particular, but really the whole team. But yeah, Venom is an amazing captain. He keeps us calm. He keeps us in the right headspace, and yeah. So I just wanted to throw that out there, just because it was put out publicly, and it kind of felt like I was getting a little bit too much credit, particularly when it comes to Nova. But yes, I just want to throw that out there real quick.
Well, it's appreciated. That's a correction that I can definitely accept. But humility always a nice thing to have, especially when you're looking at strong teams like Nova. So one of the teams of the future, no doubt, as well as Instinct, Chaos, and a lot of these teams that we've seen tonight. Again, we saw some of these longtime top teams, Kangos and Joker and Illuminati. Obviously not a longtime team, but still longtime players, and Infinite. So we still have all these teams at the top continuing to grow and change and evolve, but then there are all these teams also just creeping up along and really contesting them, taking games even off them, and it's nothing like it used to be a couple of years ago when the population was what it was, the competitive scene was what it was, and it was just the same very few teams just running roughshod on the very top level of both NA and EU basically. And even though I personally benefited from that at points, obviously, it's makes me nothing but happy to see the growth that's occurred since then, because no one wants to see a dynasty, quite frankly. And if I was anyone else, I would have been nauseous seeing Eclipse win another one. So I'm really glad. I'm really glad at the end of the day just to see how many teams have stepped up in the last 8 to 12 months, and really beyond that to flesh out this competitive scene and make it as strong as it is from top to bottom.
Yeah, there's a lot of depth of talent in the league as of yet, and that just keeps growing every day. Every week, we see more players wanting to get involved that are at that level and are ready to go. So very excited to see we're going to be in another year.
Absolutely. And well, with that said, I got the schedule up here for the benefit of those watching still. And yeah, we have the 4 games scheduled so far tomorrow. Will be all North American thus far, so we'll have Milk coming back. Milk enjoying themselves a victory over Wireless Jacks earlier. That Dimwi casted that one, so Milk making their return. Meanwhile, Nebula making their debut. We have SSVC Legends versus Galaxy, SFF and Space Force, as well as Nebula again versus SFF. So a lot of, excuse me, familiar faces, I guess, we'll be seeing throughout the stream tomorrow, and then Sunday, well, that's self-explanatory. A lot of games. But yeah, with that said and done, Dimwi, unless you have anything else to add, and I think we're about ready to wrap it up here. We definitely appreciate everyone who tuned in and interacted and chatted throughout the night, cheered, things like that. It's really more so, like, honestly, at least from my perspective, like more so than the cheers and the donations and things like that. I mean, it's good seeing the actual engagement. At the end of the day, this is still obviously a community thing, community built thing. So, you know, we hope to grow it into something bigger, and we, don't get me wrong, we love the support and the bits and the cheers and the highlighted messages, which I'll continue to say those out loud if they're not too bad. But like, just the mere fact that you guys are here, it's pretty awesome. So hopefully this is just the beginning of something really special.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Hopefully there's a long road ahead of us here.
Yeah, and hello T Chronister, as well as Baby Alex. I'm a potato. Thanks, Zenith, for that highlight. Appreciate the timing on that one. Very, very well done. All right. Well, from VR Master League, I've been Palidore, and SirDimwi has been excellent, and he's also been my partner here streaming today. And we will see you again for the weekend games coming soon. So have a good night, everyone. And Kung's stopping by. Hi, Kung. Also, bye, Kung. All right. Later, everyone. Good night.
Good night.